How's it going, boys? It's me, your stepsister. Quasar, why do you have to make every intro so stupid and gay? Because, actually, just shut up, okay? It is what it is. In any case, this is one of those rare situations in life where I get to say, I told you so. Because this is another video about Magic players, competitive Magic players, if that thing even honestly exists, getting caught cheating. Because remember, feeling vindicated is awesome. And I love feeling vindicated. And this is one of those things. But I get the shit on Magic the Gathering even being considered a competitive game, even though it's an absolute RNG joke fiesta. The best players in Magic are cheaters. They're always cheaters because they will get caught at some point, okay? And when they get caught, this happens. And, well, if they don't get caught, that just means they haven't yet been exposed, and that's it. All the best Magic players have been cheaters. Because lands are the worst mechanic ever made in a card game, okay? Literally a mechanic where you get to flip a coin 10 times and you need to land it on heads 9 times in a row to not get hit in the balls is a better mechanic than lands. It's pretty painful, but it is what it is.
Oh boy, do I have a cavalcade of cheating for you today. On the left, we have the innocent party, Sean Gallagher, the person who's actually scummed out of a win and cut out of a top 8 because of this. On the right, we
Innocent for now. Soon he is gonna be found as a cheater, probably, because they all are.
have Connor Patterson, a player who's disqualified from this NRG event. I shall
Holy shit, guy has Con in his name.
draw your attention to the 2 planes that are in play. This is the reason they were disqualified, but not their only cheat. That's right, this has layers, like an onion. Cheat is a
Imagine a cheater doing more than just cheating one time. Crazy.
just like onions. Wizards of the Coast won't keep track of either of them. More on that in a moment. But in essence, the 2 planes here are weird because Connor doesn't have them in his deck list. If you are not really a regular Magic player or a competitive Magic player, let me explain what a deck list is. It's kind of self-explanatory. It's a list that shows your deck. But the point is you submit this before an event so that you, the judges and the tournament organizers know what you're playing. This serves many, many purposes, one of which is to stop you cheating. So, for example, if you are playing cards that weren't in your deck when you registered them at the beginning,
Honestly, what other reason should there be? Except stop cheating.
in the event, that would show that you're cheating. Or should I say, potentially cheating. Now, to be very clear, having a card in play or in your deck that's not on your deck list doesn't mean you have cheated per se. Let me unpack that a little bit. Cheating requires intent.
You do something that's against the rules or not in the rules, and yeah, technically that's not. This can only fucking happen in Magic the Gathering. This can only happen in Magic goddamn Gathering. Everyone just gets banned or whatever. In Magic, bro, this guy probably is not even. How many times have you heard about the Magic the Gathering competitive tournament where, a week after, turns out the guy who won cheated? Blatantly clear, like the evidence is right there in front of you. You have it on fucking video and shit. And then nothing happens. Like, they get exposed and, well, nothing happens. They keep to get their first place because reasons, and nothing happens. Nothing changes. And then they can join the next tournament for some even dumber reason. Again, this shit just writes itself.
You are going out of your way to get an upper hand through playing outside the rules. Sometimes a deck registration error, which this could be, can just be a simple mistake. Story time. I once got a game loss, I think it was, because I was playing Sarah Avenger at a Legacy event, and I'd written Sarah Angel on my
You can't cast this spell during your first, second, or third game.
deck sheet. Just simply a brain fart from me. I'm quite easily distracted, and if someone's talking to me while filling out my deck list, I will fuck it up. I also once registered a Shaman of the Great Hunt during Standard, back when Khans of Tarkir came around the first time. I used to call this card with my friends Shaman of the Great Cunt, because we thought it was funny, and that's when I was writing my deck list. I had to be really careful and consciously not write the naughty
Bro, doesn't this, like, get you ostracized from the Magic community because, the 50% women that play Magic and participate in tournaments but you have never seen in your life are gonna get offended by this? I don't know.
Profane word. So I'm thinking to myself, hunt, hunt, hunt. So I write Master of the Wild Hunt.
Wait, does he not get demonetized after saying that word? My YouTube rep literally has told me that that specific word gets my videos demonetized and I need to work really hard to not say it. Am I demonetized now because of this? Shit.
Which wasn't legal in Standard at the time. And later on down the line, this got me a warning, not a game loss, because Master of the Wild Hunt wasn't in Standard. And thus, the judge was explaining how they didn't think I was trying to get an advantage here. Is very clearly a mistake, and thus they were going to give me a warning. The only real crime I was guilty of that day was trying to play Master of the Wild Hunt in Standard. The game loss, actually, come to think of it, with the Sarah Avenger, I think was also downgraded, because they said it was very abundantly clear I wasn't playing Sarah Angel in the 2-drop slot when I'd numerically ordered my deck sheet via mana cost. That was the judges being very kind at a PTQ. Oh, sorry, a GPT. It was a GPT. Back when they existed. I'm old. So the point is, this doesn't necessarily mean that Connor Patterson was cheating by having a second planes in play. They could have simply filled out their form incorrectly before submitting it in the morning, and then thus that went badly later. Problem is, how—
Oh boy. Wait, so is this a scandal or not? Again. Like, am I supposed to be angry at the cheater, the non-cheaters, my feelings are so mixed.
having a deck registration error doesn't normally get you DQ'd, and we don't have the information from the actual judging team or the event staff to tell us exactly what the DQ was. But we do have other players at the event telling us more information. For instance, there is an account on Twitter that this player also killed someone with a Restless Bivouac in one game, which was also not—
Holy shit, that's what this land is called? I have literally never read the name. Wow.
in their deck sheet. Okay, so now I've got a Plains and a Restless Bivouac showing up. Okay, well, some of you are watching this thinking this isn't the cheat I sign on for, Vince. I want to hear more juicy stuff than someone filling out their sheet wrong. But what if I told you the Restless Bivouac showed up in one game and the
I'm currently disappointed, but I do play Magic
Plains showed up in another, where
for a living, which makes it kind of a lot worse, honestly.
both of them were uniquely useful in those situations? And then what if I told you that that player was hiding cards on top of their deck? It's about to get interesting. But before we get into that, I want to give a shout out to this—
Wait, how do you hide it on top of the deck? How does that make sense?
end of the game, he was actually asked to pause by the NRG team in order for them to resolve this deck issue when 2 planes were spotted, but he didn't hear them. He scooped up and wandered off and went to dinner. Not an ideal scenario, because it means that—
Oh boy, that's bad. When someone calls you a cheater and you flip the table so there's no evidence, that's kind of bad.
Sean didn't get to rightfully win that game and go on to the semi-finals and, and play for better prizes. Sean is the actual victim in all of this, or the most prominent victim in all this, but there are other—
Yep, definitely the victim. He is playing Magic and he's trying to be competitive in it.
players reporting that they were getting beaten by stuff that shouldn't have been in the deck because it wasn't in the deck list. Sean even mentions that having an extra—
Wait, what the fuck do you mean? Are you telling me these guys know what their deck they're playing up against? Isn't that stupid? One of the things that I find very, very skillful in card games is your knowledge of the game when it is highlighted in the sense that you need to figure out what your opponent is playing, what cards he likely is playing, and stuff like that. Now in other card games, except Magic, there's also the concept of you can actually gauge what your opponent has in their hands because of how they do things. Do they wait or whatever? In Magic, obviously, that's bull and never happens, and it's completely useless because in Magic, statistically speaking, enemy has thing that's a problem, you always kill thing instantly. There's no such thing as waiting for bigger thing. Because your opponent just gets too much value while you're waiting for bigger thing. It's kind of sad, honestly. That's also a huge downfall of Magic that other card games don't have.
Planes helps if you want to hit your white sources in a longer match against blue-white control, which he was on, or to give you another white source against Field of Ruin. But the thing is, it would be strange if the player was looking to just change one card between matchups going into a match, because you don't often know what you're playing into. That would be a very weird way of cheating at Magic, especially in an open deck list scenario, because people will be able to notice that stuff. So something more dubious might be going on. Massive shout out to Lava Ox, who posted this detailed breakdown of what they noticed about Connor's behavior during the top 8 matches.
Holy shit, and he wrote a whole goddamn light novel about it. Jesus.
If you want to read the entire breakdown, I will link it in the description below. I'm not going to go through and read the entire thing. I'm going to point out the bits that are super interesting. Namely, if you were to look via the gifts that were provided at the round 4 and round 6 feature matches featuring Connor, he plays very openly. They have their hand open so the overhead camera can see the cards they're drawing, and they have very open body language. This will become relevant in a moment. When we get to the feature match, their demeanor has changed significantly. They are playing slunched over, they are not revealing their hand.
Bro, are you actually shitting me? Okay. When we're talking about psychology and body language and all of that good shit, do these people know this, or they're accidentally just so autistic that they kind of went into the deeper grounds of body language psychology, aka fucking baselines existing, and then when people deviate from baselines, you know that something's wrong here? Is that why he said this? Because this is wild, okay? This is wild. Leveling up real-life skills that actually typically require studying and shit like that, just so you can write a goddamn light novel, and probably make a manga about it later on, about some guy who cheated in fucking Magic and never got punished for it. Are you shitting me?
Hand to the camera above, they are crossing their arms and laying their hand against them so no one can see it. This is interesting primarily because of the accusation that we're about to level at them. And by accusation, I mean the thing we get to see with the overhead camera. Now again, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to playing in the top 8 of a tournament. The stress levels go higher and thus your demeanor can change. And over the course of a day, your
stress levels going higher doesn't mean that you're going to instantaneously cross your arms, unless that's self-soothing behavior, which is possible, but typically that doesn't involve you just crossing your arms. This is when you don't want to interact with someone or don't want people to interact with you. You know? Self-soothing behavior is more like, you know, you do shit like this, or, you know, and around the nose and shit. Not just do this and then lean back or whatever. That's just you being either ticked or pissed, or you just don't want to interact with people, because you don't want any attention on you.
energy levels can drop too. Absolutely. The thing is,
the thing that you could probably want to look for in situations like this, when someone is doing something nasty like that, is them trying to shrink themselves, you know, like this, so people don't notice them as much and whatnot.
Crossing their arms and see it. And by accusation, I mean the thing we get to see with the overhead camera. Now again, you got to give people the benefit of the doubt when it comes to playing in the top 8 of a tournament. The stress levels go higher and thus your demeanor can change. And over the course of a day, your energy levels can drop too. Absolutely. The thing is, the bit that sort of like shrugs that all off is the card hidden on his lap. At this point here, where Connor goes to untap and draw a card for turn, we can see something on the lap that is the exact same turquoisey teal color as their sleeves. Yeah, interesting, right?
I didn't see
it. They draw a card here, and we had to do some real snooping. People on Twitter, including the Lava Ox, have had a look at close-ups to suggest that this is a Battlefield Forge. It looks very much like it's a Battlefield Forge, which is a pain land that taps for 1 white and 1 red. Yes, the resolution when enhanced is very bad, but let's look at that color grading from a darker to a lighter, from a red to a white. If you look at every printing of Boros Charm, there isn't a single one with that color gradient. Meanwhile, Battlefield Forge does indeed have that color gradient, and they also put that color gradient version of Battlefield Forge in their deck. There's really damning evidence to suggest that this is the pain land that we believe to be from the slightly cagey.
Not an expert on this shit, nor will I ever take enough time for this, but okay. I like when people do their due diligence.
Difficult to see overhead shot is that Connor looks to go and play the card as a land. This is
okay. What is really fucking suspicious here is okay. So whoever did this some magically how knows some psychology but doesn't know it fully. Okay, you can't be fucking, like this when it's bad, and then you do something sus, and then you do the thing, and suddenly you're like, oh shit, and we're back in, boys. Because now his demeanor is right almost the exact way what it was previously. He's more open, he's more everything, and that's pretty much it. See, by the way, this is an example of self-soothing right there. Like this. You're doing this to comfort yourself because it's a stressful situation. Completely different than crossing your arms. Completely different things, okay? In fact, this guy has not actually done anything too self-soothing as far as I can tell. He just has done the sussy things about making himself smaller and making it so people don't want to actually like look at him or interact with him. And the moment the sus thing happens here, he returns to being a normal human. That is probably the big giveaway about this being cheating.
It's the gesture of someone thinking about making a spellcast, or more likely a land drop as they put the card into their lands. They think, and they decide not to. They instead use the utility land to pump up their mouse. At this point, even coverage is saying that the thing that Sean needs to be most wary of is a Boros Charm as it ends the game right here. Sean is on 3 life, not 5. That was a mistake with the UI. He passes back to Sean, who doesn't do a whole lot, and passes back to Connor after making a treasure and ends up with the fountain path. Then we see Connor cast the trick shot show off, it doesn't get countered, and finishes the game with a Boros Charm. It turns out the coverage was actually wrong, that Sean was on 3 life here. The Boros Charm was lethal, the slick shot was an attempt to bait out a counterspell. Now, the problem is that when we see the hand overhead, we can tell that the third unknown card that isn't the slick shot show off, nor the Boros Charm, is no longer a Battlefield Forge. It's difficult to make out, but the theory is that this is an Urabrask's Forge. We can tell from the color of the text box and the frame.
Maybe.
Props to Connor, he's doing very well at hiding his hand from us, but we do get to see it in the overhead shot as he casts the Boros Charm. Again, I'm taking very heavily from Lava Ox's breakdown here, which is fantastic, by the way, link in the description below. They point out that at one point they have...
Oh, by the way, the hiding of the hand where he started with saying, oh, he's not hiding the hand on blah, 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 and this hiding the hand, that is 100% not intended. That is just the effect of you... like, think about it. If you're chilling and you're, like, on your phone, how do you use it? Do you use it like this? Or if you're doing something sneaky, what are you? Probably doing something like this. That's very basic shit. He's not actually probably even thinking to make it invisible for the camera. Because if he was doing that, it would be blatantly visible. It would be blatantly visible in all of his activities.
One card in hand. They draw a new card that we can gather is Battlefield Forge. They then, at the end of the game with one more card drawn, but they suddenly have Urabrask's Forge, a Boros Charm, and a Slick Shot. So, like, where did the Battlefield Forge go? Oh, it went onto his dick. On the turn after Connor activates the utility land to grow their creature and passes back to Sean, who then makes the treasure of the fountain. And that's the turn in which they drew the Battlefield Forge. We see him play with his hand here. Let's break it down slowly. We see his hand.
That was something.
Under the table. And he's just doing something with his table. What the hell is he doing with his elbow? It looks like he's fidgeting it around in something. And he even...
Yeah, that does not look like a natural elbow straight through.
Looks down. There's even a glance down. Like, what is he looking at? It looks like he's turning off like a vibrating call in his phone from a pocket phone.
Bro, is this gonna be like a... What if he has a Magic the Gathering engine? And it's giving him signals through vibrations through his anal beads. By the way, real chess scandal. That's a real chess scandal, okay? See what I mean? Chess fucking has better scandals than Magic the Gathering. And then people cheat less. Jesus.
Sean is focusing on his game plan. He's tapping lands. He's making a treasure.
Imagine anyone in Magic being dedicated enough to cheat through understanding different minute vibrations of your anal beads as a man. Okay? Imagine that. That's dedication. This is just fucking shit.
Treasure, all that good stuff. Keep in mind there is a mirroring between the overhead and the actual face cam shot. That's why it's different arms. And he pulls his hand out from his lap and then itches his face and goes back to holding his hand below the table. He leans back. That's right. Looking at his hand really.
Quick brushes like this are It's self-soothing from stress. And obviously, this is not a great situation.
Far back, make sure that overhead camera can't see your hand, Connor. It would be bad if we noticed that one of your cards is magically transformed into a useful spell like a Boros charm.
Oh, now he actually is doing that because he's opening the cards like this. That's super sus.
And to clarify, the Boros charm could have been the unknown card initially when they drew the Battlefield Forge. But at the end of the game, we know there's no Battlefield Forge in their hand. The Battlefield Forge has magically disappeared, and the Boros charms end up being the card that wins in the game. Commentary team are commenting about how this is the best possible card they could draw at this time, and Connor's probably reasonably good at the game. You know, that's a lot of cheaters normally are.
Hey, if this was Arena, that would not surprise me if I was one of Vince's streak that he just magically drew all the right shit.
You got to know a bit about Magic to get there, and thus knows that he just needs to pull the Boros charm out of his pocket, out of his deck box, out of something below the table. God knows what's going on there. There's another report as well that he may have been playing more Boros charms in earlier matches than he had registered to his entire deck list, but again, that's unsubstantiated. The interesting thing about like covering this cheated stuff is really I try to cover the things that we can see on camera.
It's
Some of this
hilarious.
is hearsay from Twitter and people on social media talking about the event. It's why when we get a he said, she said, or they said sort of situation with no overhead camera, I'm a lot more lenient about how I feel about the cheater in question. The fact that they were DQ'd, the deck list was consistently wrong to the point that there was extra basic lands in there than there should have been, and all of this cagey behavior with hands down the table, and then some on-camera footage where magically their Battlefield Forge disappears and their hand becomes.
Was there a statement from him? This looks like it could be a statement. Huh. Oh, that's a Jin, probably. In any case, let's get the statement.
All playable gas cards in the red versus the blue-white control matchup. Yeah, it's very clear he's cheating. So why are we seeing more of this? Is it because there's more coverage? Well, that's probably one of the elements to this, right? Is that we're seeing more stream stuff? And we're seeing more content creators like myself, Saffron Olive, Nikachu, whoever else is covering this, who is going to show this stuff and do commentary on it. Hell, people are taking to social media to talk about it, like the Lava Ox account that share this whole thing, so they are breaking their Twitter silence to post this. But why are people doing that? Well, the content creators are doing it because you lot love cheating videos, but also there is an element of we don't want these.
Be honest, probably I didn't think about it. I just wanted to make fun of the fact that Magic is not a competitive game. I'm gonna be real with you. Play it for fun. For fun, I think Magic is great. A competitive game, I think you have a lot of screws loose, okay?
Cheaters to be playing the game anymore because it ruins the fucking game. But beyond that, why? There are Reddit threads you can find. I've got one right here on screen where people are asking, like, why have these people got lifetime bans? And people in the comments are saying, striking a judge or producing a knife. It wasn't just for
Shouldn't this be legal in England?
Cheaters, as are people who are just problematic and toxic and not good to have around anyway. Over time, they removed the reason for ban bit, but you can still see that certain players were banned for lifetimes. There were Reddit threads where people celebrated the banning of Notorious and.
Listen, if you're gonna ban everyone who just pulls out the knife mid Magic game, you're gonna lose all the in this game. I'm not gonna lie, it is what it is.
Famous cheats like Bert and Cheaty, who I've covered on this channel before.
Oh, look at that! Someone who actually he probably didn't even get to give him back his 10K. Okay, or maybe this is actually $10. Who fucking knows? Anyway, that was Pleasant Kenobi. 10 out of 10. Hilarious. Hilarious. Bye.